Okay, Sean Kingston was the first artist signed.
Sean Kingston was the first artist signed. So he was signed to us. We did a partnership with Sony Epic with Charlie Walk at the time, who was he was one of the biggest radio promoters of all time, and he was newly in the job of running Epic. And so he was like an underdog, and he took a chance on us. Like, we brought him Sean Kingston. It's not like there was a bidding war for Sean. It's not like every label wanted to do it, but he was like, I get this. Let's do this. And that's when, we did like a 3-song demo. We knew we wanted to be with him, but we got a big JV off that, and then went in, rolled up our sleeves, probably were in the studio 7 days a week for 6-7 months. Sean at that time, like I was saying, he was a rapper. His name was Franchise, but his real name was Keshawn Anderson. And he was singing his hooks, but he was rapping his verses. So we had this whole album where he's like singing, and we're like, hey, what's that little, accent? Like, so yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm Jamaican. So I said, let's not compete with like Lil Wayne and T.I., these really lyrical guys. Sean was 15, 16 at the time. I said, let's go melodic. You're singing anyhow. And then when we stumbled onto Beautiful Girls, which I can tell you the story of that was the first song that we did that was all melodic, no rapping whatsoever, singing all the way. I was like, yeah, because the only other people in this lane is like T-Pain and Akon. This is perfect for you. Back then, you had to have a lot of, as in that era, you had to have credibility in your lyrics. And if you didn't have that, it's not like today where you could just rap some swaggy shit and be cool. If you don't have that, you're better off playing in the melodic lane. So that's what we did. So we went back and we took the album and all the songs. He was singing the hooks, but he was rapping the verses. We stripped the rap verses and said, no, let's rewrite these as melodic things. And so the album that came out was predominantly, besides like a street song we had called Colors, we went all melodic with that.
Can you play Beautiful Girls?
Yes. So, as you know, it's a flip.
Right, it's a sample. Now, that's a sample of Benny King's Stand By Me.
Correct.
How much of that song did Benny King take? After it was all said and done?
This is gonna, it's not always this bad. So people out there who sample, and I've sampled a lot, and I've seen the splits that they come, like, be all the way from reasonable to unreasonable. I'll tell you what was even more unreasonable than that one. But yeah, so, Sean was the one. He heard Stand By Me in the kitchen at the studio. He's like, yo, let's flip that. At the time, I'm like, no, this song is too precious to flip. But, when you're young like him, you don't know the rules. You're like, what are you talking about? We bought it on iTunes, loaded it up, flipped the beat within 5 minutes, and then we had it. And then when they went to clear it, if I'm not mistaken, a song like that, they can take whatever they want, and they don't need the money.
Because it's already a hit.
It's already a hit.
If it's already a major hit, and you're sampling it, they really hit you in the head with it.
They hit you with the head. It also sort of depends on how reasonable the writers are. Like, some people are like, hey, they want the money. Some people you can't clear. Prince, you can't clear. It's not even about the money. Led Zeppelin, as I'll tell you, you can't clear. In this case, we could clear it. They wanted 75% of the record.
75%.
So, and we knew when we made, that was one of those rare times when we made that song, we knew it was his first single. Like, that hasn't happened to me that much. There was times where I was excited about a song and it didn't go all the way, and other times where I thought a song was just average and it did go all the way. But that was one of those rare times where we called Charlie, we called everyone, we're like, we got it. We know we got it. This is his first single. There's no question. And so, yeah, we had to do it. So they took 75%, leaving, 25% amongst, the rest of the writers, me, Sean, and Sly, who's one of Dr. Dre's writers, incredible dude. But it was worth it. That was on the publishing. I was the sole producer of the song. And, when I got into this game, I remember thinking, I'm never going to sample. Why would I sample if I can play everything? But, that's one of those things where the universe has a different plan for you than you had for yourself. And so when that song hit like that, and same with SOS, which was a flip of Tainted Love and, a few other things, it was worth it. it was worth it. I mean, would we have made way more money if they had took less publishing? Of course.
Yeah.
But the song wouldn't have been a hit without that recognizable and that magic. You know, sometimes you do an interpolation where you don't take the master sample, you replay it. But sometimes when there's a certain sonic magic of a song recorded in the 50s with that kind of thing, it was like, no, the magic is there, so we're just going to have to pay whatever they want.
Okay, so you didn't really play it. You actually sampled the original. And
On that song, that song was a sample.
Worked some music around it.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, we just took the bass, obviously all the drums and everything, and I added orchestration on top of it. And I could have, replayed it, but there was just a certain magic to that song. Still till this day, yeah. I mean, I almost don't even really take credit for that. It was kind of like Sean said, flip it. I flipped it. We literally had it within 5 minutes. Sly came in with that insane hook. Which had that edginess to me. I just knew when he used the word suicidal, I was like, yeah, that, because they wanted to clean it up. I'm like, no, you take a happy 50s chord progression like that and you add that X factor of a word like suicidal. It's so dark. It was like a crazy like combination of things all together that I was just lucky to be a part of.
Well, yeah, then Sean Kingston kind of became a star off that song.
Totally. Became a star off that song. I mean, we had several, we had some great follow-ups, Take You There, that people like, a bunch of other stuff, some things off his second album. And really, he had a real magic and a presence, a presence to him. He really did have something very like kind of special. He has this kind of like, I can't explain it. He had a certain X factor, and he did really, really well. And even, when he went on and worked with other producers and things like that, he was still signed to Beluga Heights. So it's still, at the time, I think my ego was like, I want to produce every single song. And I didn't really understand passive income and like, dude, it's like the legacy of something. It's like, hey, Def Jam is still around today. That's still an offshoot of Rick Rubin. And when Snoop Dogg works with Timbaland or whoever he works, it's still, that. So I didn't understand that at the time. But, very, very thankful that we were there with him. And and that gave us a catapult to launch, future artists. Actually, some of which their songs were started with Sean in the studio. He just passed on them and we gave them to, Jason Derulo and Ayaz.